Welcome, welcome, welcome. Beer Guys Radio Show live on Facebook and YouTube, Brian, live and in living color.
Yeah, yes.
We are here this week talking with Shiner Beer, Spoetzl Brewing. We have Brewmaster Jimmy Mauric with us. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here, guys.
Thank you. And Nick, is it Weiland?
Weiland.
You
got the German pronunciation down for all these Shiner beers.
I should have asked that before we went on the air, but sometimes
it is a German name, and EI is you pronounce the vowel that's the second one. So Weiland for EI and Weiland for
German.
IE.
I did Spanish,
yeah.
So there's no telling there. So, and Nick is a brand manager with Shiner there. So, guys, again, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Really looking forward to chatting and sharing some beers. And what's the Shiner football team, Jimmy? What is the team mascot?
The Shiner High Comanches.
Go Comanches.
Go Comanches.
State playoffs tonight. So we're going to get this done so we can watch some football. Have a good time with it. All right. Facebook, YouTube, you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. We are going to get into our first recording segment here, and we'll be back to chat with you in just a few minutes. Gentlemen, we ready to record?
We're ready.
Let's do this.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting live from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week, we're talking with Shiner Beer. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and Santa's cousin, Brian Hewitt.
That's right, Santa's cousin. Hey,
You're
Tim.
getting a little more white in there, Brian.
Yeah, well, that's possible, and it will happen with time, for sure.
Yes.
So joining us today, we have Brewmaster Jimmy Mauric and Nick Weiland, the brand manager for Shiner. We're going to talk about beers with a lot of history, ones that have been around since before Prohibition, and some beverages that are a little more recent, like S'more Ale and Juicy Dill Pickle Hard Seltzer, Tim. So,
good stuff.
Yeah, right. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank y'all guys for having us.
We appreciate it very much. Shiner Beer, over 100 years of brewing tradition, been around a long time. You know, as Brian mentioned, we'll dive into that a little bit more, but survive Prohibition, which is big stuff.
Yeah.
We had a brewery here in Atlanta that it went through a few different names, but I think Atlantic Ale was the big beer that they did at the time, but they did ice, I think, through Prohibition and that. So, but they're not around anymore. So when they started,
that's what Spoetzl Brewery did.
Okay,
ice
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and what else was it? Was it near beer, Jimmy?
We actually made near beer, but according to legend, it was nearer to beer than it was near beer.
Nearer to, very near to
one
beer,
of those
like
sell with a wink, something like that.
Well, I know it was true because Mr. Spoetzl actually spent some time for getting caught for some of the real stuff. So
see, it happens.
So they were basically bootleggers in a way, or something like that. Yeah,
I mean, a fun connection. My grandpa on my dad's side he did a little time for that, running shine in North Carolina, running shine through the tobacco fields there. My dad told me the story. He had a little shack in the back of a tobacco field, and apparently one of the revenuers was driving around.
The revenuers, yeah.
And he saw a footpath had been run through that. Something's not right here. So he went up there and he found my granddaddy's stash.
Why would people need to go up there that badly that they would wear a path to that cabin?
That was it. Yeah.
Suspicious. He should have been sprinkling leaves over the path.
You know, interesting things that they did, like with bootleggers and that, because my dad told me they had hand signs. Like guys would pull up on the dirt road in front of the tobacco field and they do a hand sign. It would be like 1 gallon, 2 gallons or whatever. And because my grandpa was an excellent father, he'd have his kids run the shine down.
Oh yeah,
run the shine down there to him and get going.
It's important to have your kids involved. That's learning the ways of the world right there. So.
Yeah, good. A lot has changed in these years, so it'll be fun to dive into.
Yeah, people don't send their kids out for booze and cigarettes anymore.
Right?
Yeah, like they once did. Things have changed a little bit.
You used to be able to do that. You used to be able to do that. So though, I think a good place for us to start. We're actually enjoying a very old recipe, but a new beer. Is that right, Jimmy? 1909.
Yeah, when you start talking about, history, tradition, I mean, we're 112 years old. We've
Right.
we've been here on the banks of Boggy Creek since 1909. So, when we are looking at another beer, a new beer, but old tradition, that's where we came up with 1909. We wanted something that would be true to tradition, a beer they would have made back then,
Right.
using, one malt, one yeast, one hop, something, some earthy type malt that they would have had back then. And that's kind of what we wanted to reenact with this beer. And we really think we did a great job of it, because we're used to making, especially, premium lagers, and so this beer was really relatively easy for us to make. But again, we here at Spoetzl Brewery, we were founded on a great water source. We have an artesian well right here that's been here since 1909. So we're still using that same water in 1909, and we're still using it for this 1909.
Right in there. Good
So
stuff.
it's come a long way, guys, long ways.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually how the location of the brewery got determined, right? The townspeople who was checking German immigrants found this water source, and of course they're like, well, we know what we're going to use that water for.
Yeah, that's right.
This is going to be beer.
This is going to be beer. Yeah,
right.
you thought we were going to
Yeah.
drink it. No, not until we make it into beer.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to remember, here in Shiner, we're in the middle of nowhere. So we're in deep South Central Texas. They didn't have no 7-Elevens back then, so they had to actually make their own beer. So, and that's where Shiner was founded, by German Czech farmers, because it was a huge agricultural farming community around here. So they had to have their beer.
You mentioned something earlier that's kind of interesting, kind of popular with home brewers, a single malt and a single hop smash brews, as the home brewers call them. Is this truly a single malt, single hop beer?
It's truly a single
Very
malt,
cool.
single
Okay.
hop beer.
Where do you get the Heritage Two Row? I noticed that was in the description of the beer. Is that a local? Is that a Texas thing or?
We use some specialty malt from smaller companies to get that that earthiness out of it. So we have some base 2-row malt, but we want to use some of our craft brew malts for this. So we definitely we achieved what we wanted with this earthiness in it. And again, I just love the the old world taste of it. It does come back to me drinking some of our beers 40 years ago.
We've always wanted to do just a completely Texas sourced ingredient beer, but it turns out you can't grow hops in Texas, so we just have never been able to do that.
Not quite the climate. They're working on stuff to be able to do it, though.
Supposedly, yeah. Some portions of the South here, but it's mostly like indoor hydroponic things. I think that is what it's working on. So, yeah, it's technically
Expensive.
possible,
Would be
but
expensive
yes,
odds.
it's not outdoors.
Yeah.
But Tim, I think we need to talk about the beers of the week.
Brian, you hear this from me a lot, but we've got a great list of beers to get into today.
Do we again?
We do.
Wow.
We do. And thank you to Shiner for sending us a great selection of beers. We've got quite a few excellent ones to try today. Right now, we are drinking the 1909 Heritage Lager. This is great, man. This is a drinking beer.
Tasty drinking
Something
beer.
to sit around and enjoy. Good stuff. Shiner Holiday Cheer. 'Tis the season, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get into that. We have a mix pack, Shiner Bonfire Brewskis. So we'll dive into some of those, talk a little bit. There's s'mores.
Yeah,
in
the
that pack,
s'mores in
Brian.
that
So
one.
that's going to be good. And Brian, we have, for your enjoyment, Tall Tales Cocktail Inspired Seltzers. We got a mix pack there.
I am intrigued by the cocktail inspiration.
There
I
is
do
a
like
Texas.
that.
I saw Jimmy is a Mexican margarita and a watermelon.
Yes,
Margaret.
these things are they're way out there. Well, you mentioned the dill pickle earlier.
Yes.
We're not scared of anything.
Do it.
I see that. Yeah, I'm excited.
We had at a Cask Ale festival. There was a dill pickle goza there, and I was about it. It was tasty stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Brian, what's happening this week in the news? Brian, I forgot something. I want to thank the Nest for sponsoring our beers of the week. Every week they sponsor that for us. Craft Beer Barbecue. Go visit them in Kennesaw, Georgia. Tell them the beer guy sent you.
Indeed.
Yeah. Brian, how about that news?
All right. So according to Craft brewingbusiness.com. The non-alcoholic beverage companies have formed their own beverage association. The name of the organization is the Adult Non-Alcoholic Beverage Association, which is kind of predictable, or ANBA for short. And their stated goal is to take on the challenges of the industry, that they face, like the standards, regulation, education, and generally promote the industry as a whole to consumers, retailers, and other business partners. The founding members of the association include NA breweries that we've had on as guests before, including
Athletics in there.
Athletic, Saria, and Partake, to name a few. And there are over 40 involved. So it's not just limited to NA beers, it's spirits as well. So it looks like this has some legs. They're going to have their own trade organization. So this could mean a lot more expansion in this line.
I believe when we talked to Athletic on the show last time that they had talked to me off air and said this was in the works, but it was young and not ready to really go public with at the time. But, with the popularity, it's not surprising that they're getting organized with things. Exactly.
I'm not surprised at all. So speaking of beer associations, the Brewers Association has published their 2021 year in beer report. In it, they say that the sales tide swung back towards breweries, bars, and restaurants, with many breweries getting closer to their former production volumes and some seeing new growth. And the craft beer category as a whole has returned to pre-production growth levels. And there was more than 9,000 breweries operating in the United States in 2021, which is a 6% increase from 2020. They also highlight that there's a changing demographic in the craft beer drinkers. Female drinkers under 25 now outnumber male drinkers under 25. That's surprising, but that's
Good
where we're
news.
heading. And they also have predictions for 2022. The craft production will exceed 2019 levels once again. On-premise sales will improve, but draft will still not be quite up to 2019 levels. Brewery sales will hit all-time highs. Operating breweries will continue to climb in numbers, but it won't be as fast a rate as before, and inflation will lead to increased beer prices. I think we see that coming. So that's where we're at as of the end of 2021.
Well, a lot of ground to catch up, really.
Yeah,
with the way everything's
but
done.
we are.
But exactly, but we are, so that's a good sign. You are listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Shiner Beer. There we go.
All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Much news. Okay, cool. Oh, hey,
There
from
we
Kettle
go.
Rock.
Cheers from Kettle Rock. Good
Steven's
stuff.
back.
A family business. That's right. You got the whole Pete family over there at Kettle Rock Brewing.
Every Pete.
Good local beer.
Every Pete in Georgia, probably.
Pete and repeat.
Repeat.
At Kettle Rock. That is it.
I tried to avoid doing that. I'm both glad and sad that you decided to go there.
Okay. Sorry. Well, I got it out of the way at least, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Guys, I really enjoy this 1909. This is really tasty. This is, I love all the crazy stuff we've got out there. We've got some great pastry stouts we picked up from a local brewer we've got there. We talked to Harpoon recently, and they sent us a Bock aged in Whistle Pig Boss Hog barrels that we're looking forward to getting into. But I went this weekend bowling.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they didn't have a lot of beers, but they had Yingling. I'm like, well, let me get a Yingling. And I'm telling you, that's the finest Yingling I've ever had.
Bowling Alley Yingling is surprisingly good.
Bowling Alley Yingling there.
They didn't have Shiner there, or we would have gone Shiner. I'm just going to point that out. So, yeah.
Well, what was the problem? I was just got back from Nashville last week, and they had plenty of Shiner Bock there.
See, that's what I'm saying.
We're going to have a talk with them. What's going to have to say?
What are you guys even doing here?
What's happening here? Yeah. Take some more of that.
I believe that was about the craftiest thing they had there, though, wasn't it? So.
I believe so. Yeah, Yingling was about it in terms of what they had in terms of
one
craft,
Sweetwater tap, but that's kind of standard fare for the Atlanta area.
And I've had 420 a lot. I like 420, but I had that actually. I started off with that. It was running. I'm like, I guess that was just a fresh keg.
Yes.
You just got to switch over, man.
Guys, what is the next beer we should open up here as we move on?
I tell you what, I think Nick, you got one in your hand. Let's do the holiday cheer. Let's do a little festive beer over here.
Good to me.
I've been waiting to get into this. I like this beer.
I mean, guys, this beer, that's all it does. It every season it just seems to get bigger and bigger. Again, there's such a following of this beer, and I it amazes me. Again, being up in Nashville last week, I got cornered by these 4 young couples, and they were from Iowa, and they were telling me how that they couldn't believe they're meeting the brewmaster of Holiday Cheer. They didn't talk about Shiner Bock. They didn't talk about any of other beers.
Yeah.
They were talking about I'm the brewmaster of Holiday Cheer. So
bringing people cheer, man.
Cool,
you gotta love it.
Like how people wait for the McRib or the pumpkin spice latte or whatever. You come to Texas or even other parts of the country, and it's Holiday Cheer they're waiting for.
Holiday Cheer.
Well, so my day job. I'm a technical recruiter, and part of my team is scattered around Texas, Dallas, and Houston. And I was talking to one of my coworkers and mentioned that we were going to have Shiner on the show. He's in the Dallas area. He's like, make sure you get some Holiday Cheer. That's the first thing he said when I said, Shiner, you got to have that Holiday Cheer. So I'm like, well, when we received it, I had to send him a picture. He's like, I had a few of those last night myself. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at Holiday Cheer. I mean, again, it's a Bavarian style dark wheat. It's a Dunkelweizen by style. And again, we use roasted pecans in it, hill country peaches over here in Texas. We use a krausening process, in fermentation. It's just a really well built beer. And again, it's always perfect for this time of the year. During the Christmas season, the holiday season. A packaging reflects kind of the season also, and again, it's really, really popular out of state. I mean, there's just a lot of people really want this beer at this time, and we seem like we're making it earlier and earlier and earlier just so we keep the demand.
A little cheer cream.
It's unfortunate you couldn't get Georgia peaches, but I guess those Texas Hill Country, they'll do it.
They'll have
we
to
try
do.
to keep it Texas. We try to keep it Texas.
I can appreciate that. Good stuff. I just realized we're not recording right now.
Yeah, we're not. Well, we're live
chat,
streaming, so people are seeing this. But
we'll probably repeat a lot.
We'll probably have to go back over this for the actual radio show.
Guys, this is delicious.
Delicious.
And I forget, like you said with the McRib. It's like when you get it again, you're like, oh yeah. And I'm gonna admit, nasty or not, I'm a McRib fan. When they're back, I gotta get one. Salt and barbecue sauce, and then and then they salt that salt.
And they salt the salt. Yeah. It's like season the salt with more salt. That's very nice. I like that they press some sort of like it's pork particle board, isn't it? Or something like that. Press it into a shape that looks like it's ribs. And I had one recently. I was aware of how big of a deal it was. I'm like, this is pretty good. I'm okay with this.
I mean, you have to know what you're getting. You're not getting a gourmet meal. You're getting pork particle board.
Well, you are also going
sauce and pickles
to McDonald's.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys. Y'all need to get to Texas really, really bad for some barbecue.
Get some ribs, right? Get some ribs. So.
We'll give you Georgia peaches, but you got to come here for barbecue.
Enough. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
You know what? I really do need to have proper Texas barbecue. It's something that it's a bucket list thing for me. I have to get over to Texas first, but
we do it. Good stuff. Well, guys, let's get back into it here. Nate, want to get us rolling, sir?
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What in tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand, so if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to Shiner Beer.
Jimmy, I'm going to ask you a question, kind of back it up a little bit, but we talked about your nearer to beer than the near beer. And Brian had a story in there about the NA brewers. We dive into the non-alcoholic beers a good bit. We have people message us about them anytime we do an NA show.
Very popular segments, yes.
Has Shiner looked at or is in the process of making a non-alcoholic beer?
I mean, again, you always put, you leave, leave everything on the table. You never know
Okay.
what you're going to
Yeah.
do. I mean, you don't take it off. I mean, has there been discussions? Oh, yes, there's always been discussions because there's out there. I mean, you're always looking at what your competition's doing. So, yes, has there been constructive dialogue about it? Sure. Are we there? No.
Okay.
That was a great political answer.
Yes, it was.
very much so.
You know what? This is a perfect time to revive that Prohibition near beer, right? And
there you go.
Make it on there, bring it back. So,
What in quotes
man,
on the can near?
Who has revived a non-alcoholic beer, a near beer?
Oh,
You may
Prohibition
have to make it,
era.
You may have to make it more NA than the previous version, but
Yeah.
I kind of like that version.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
But if you did it near in quotes, it was like 3% or something
Near.
like that.
Yeah.
It's just like
Didn't
near.
someone do that recently that they said something like they called it like alcohol free or something that implied?
Oh, well,
but
that
then
was
in big
Heineken's.
letters. It contains alcohol. No, not the Heineken.
Oh,
thing,
not the
something
Heineken
else,
deal.
but-
Oh, okay.
Well,
But-
no, I know, guys, they have a lot better process now to do this, and it actually tastes half decent. But I'm sorry, the once or twice that I tasted this stuff, it was nasty. And again,
Yeah.
I'm sure glad they improved the process that it's at least it's drinkable now.
palatable now.
It is
right?
definitely, it has come just country miles from where it used to be. It used to be a very bad thing. And there are places out there, are guys out there brewing stuff that's actually really on point. And
Yeah.
in some
If
cases,
you-
you wouldn't even notice. You wouldn't even realize it.
If you choose to, or you can't drink alcohol, you can still have an enjoyable beer.
Absolutely.
These days.
Yeah.
So, and one that is a little nearer to beer here that we're enjoying right now. We've chatted about it a little bit. 'Tis the season. I've got a bottle of Shiner Holiday Cheer in here. Jimmy, we're going to make you repeat a little bit that we talked about on break here, but tell us about this bottle of cheer I got in my hand.
And again, as we talked earlier with the cheer, it again, there's a following of this beer, and it's a cult following. These people go crazy over this beer, and it seemed like year in, year out, we're making it earlier and earlier because the demand for it. Again, this is a Bavarian style dark lager. It's a Dunkelweizen base. It's got roasted pecans in it. It's got hill country peaches in it. We use a krausening process in the fermentation. Yeah, I mean, it's just a well built Dunkelweizen beer. And again, it's perfect for the holiday season. A little darker, a little heavier, but full of flavor. I mean, I like to call it fruitcake in a bottle. I mean, I just gave it that name many years ago. But again, it's just a really flavorful beer.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
And I know you did a fruitcake beer collaboration, and I'm like, well, I'm drinking this, and this kind of reminds me of fruitcake.
Yeah.
It also gives me kind of the sensation, those little cherry cordials that have like the cream center.
Oh, yeah.
With the cherry in that, and there's a richness to it. You get the sweet fruitiness and the richness. I kind of get that sensation.
I get what you're talking about. I might not have
Yeah.
jumped there, but when you say that, that makes a lot of sense to
But
me.
it tastes like Christmas.
It does.
It's a very Christmas beer for sure.
I mean, and the packaging matches the exterior packaging and the label. Everything matches the holiday season. So, I mean, this is a case of beer you could stick under your Christmas tree and not blink an eye.
Sounds like
I might well do that.
Yes.
For the longest time, we didn't even call out the peaches and pecans, and people just had it and this tastes exactly like Christmas. They didn't even know what
Right.
the fruits were.
Well, that's until we got these and looked at it. I didn't know that either. I'd never really looked in deep enough to see that's what it was. I just enjoyed the beer.
Yeah.
And when we were putting our notes together for the show, I was like, oh, peaches and pecans. Okay, cool.
So we've been talking about, beers, or we're definitely going to talk more about it too, but beers that have a long history. How long have you been making this? This has been around a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been around. We did a version in 1995 that was called Shiner Winter Ale. And that there was, a really successful, seasonal beer at that time. And it went away after a while. And then we finally, came back and revitalized a whole different recipe and, used kind of a little bit of the base of the old winter ale and just, added the, the peaches, the pecans, the krausening aspect of it to make it a little bit more richer. So again, it's been around a pretty good while. So you could really say it originated maybe in 1995, and maybe into 97, 98 when we really started, really looking at this as holiday cheer.
When it became its final form,
its
basically.
final form.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jimmy,
again, it was Dunkelweizen just was another beer that was close to this. So we were putting beers as we were growing into holiday cheers. The winter ale grew into Dunkelweizen, the Dunkelweizen grew into holiday cheer.
Yeah.
Well, that's
those were beer drinkers beers, and then
right.
what Jimmy and the team did was take it and turn it into a beer for everyone, right? Like beer drinkers love it, and everyone loves it, and it just exploded from there. So
that was before holiday cheer was sexy. We really dressed this baby up.
They were brewing this before it was cool. Yeah,
that's it. We did a show recently on dark lagers trying to introduce our listeners, but some of them were kind of new to me, or some of the details on there. But it's cool to see these styles being cool again. People are searching out these beers. It's not necessarily the 47 double, triple, quadruple dry hopped IPAs and the pastry stouts, still delicious, much love, but pilsners, lagers, Dunkelweizens, Bocks. People are looking for those as well.
Yeah. And something you mentioned a couple of times here, and I really want to talk about it, the krausening thing. Can you explain that process to us? And I'm curious, is this the only beer you do it on?
Well, right now it's the current one we're under, at this season that we're doing. And the krausening process, we're actually, into fermentation. After a few days of fermentation, we actually introduce fresh wort into the fermenter, and again, to prolong the fermentation and add fresh sugars to it, and it really gives it a nice smooth finish to the end of this beer.
They keep feeding the baby.
Keep feeding it.
Keep feeding it.
That's right.
So even with doing that, it only comes in at 5.4%. It doesn't shoot up really high into the ABV range.
Yes, because again, this is it's 175 barrel cold wort, 5.6% alcohol in it. So it's really an easy drinkable beer. I mean, it's right up there where you can pound quite a few of these things and still staying upright.
Nick, if you and Jimmy sat down and went bottle to bottle, Shiner cheer, holiday cheer, who's the winner? Who's winning? Got more caps on the table when you're done?
Oh my gosh, not even a contest. You could put Jimmy and then literally anyone else, and come up with name anyone else. It's going to be Jimmy always.
Jimmy's got it. Huh?
Hey, don't call me one more Jimmy for nothing.
One more Jimmy.
One
more, man.
Well, I mean, you've been brewing this for years. I'm like, this is a beer that you made for you. I'm like, you've got history drinking this beer, so you would have to. I would assume you have to be the most efficient at processing this beer after it's been consumed.
I hate to tell you guys how long I've been here. I'll be here in June. It'll be 44 years. So wow. I've been here a long time, and I've seen a lot of these beers come. And we have a lot of beers, in our recipe book that we've made through the years that could be recycled and brought back so easy now. Again, these beers were great beers back then, and we were just strictly kind of sticking to the lagers, kind of the German Czech type beers, but now we in the craft brewing side of it, that's what makes it so interesting. You got open borders on this, so you can go anywhere with these beers, and you can make put your fingerprint on any style and make it into a hybrid style.
Jimmy, I'll know Mike Nate wasn't even a thought when you started working there at the brewery. So
he probably was not.
Yeah,
I was quite young at the time, as were you, Tim.
I was young.
Yeah,
I was quite young. I was just young. So.
I probably wasn't talking. Well, I'm probably was talking.
I was in school.
Yeah,
I was in school there, so I was up there a little bit.
Well, I always liked the kid about becoming brewmaster. And I said, how did you become brewmaster? And I always tell him I had to intern for 27 years, so it was like it was a process.
Got to do your time, man. Good stuff. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We need to take another break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Shiner Beer. Jimmy, I don't know if I'm going to open any more beers. I just want to keep drinking these cheers, man. I just want to open another one.
It's happiness in a glass, man.
One more,
That's
Timmy.
what these beers do to you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, this is tasty. I enjoy this a lot. But I enjoy the 1909 a lot as well.
I'm thinking this time of the year, this is probably your most popular beer. Like the rest of the year when this is not available, the Bach is probably the one that people reach for the most, right?
Well, you got to remember, Bach is what puts Shiner, Texas on the map. You know, no ifs, ands, or buts. We've been doing this a long time. Again, at one time we made one beer. You know, it was called, Shiner beer. It was called Shiner Texas Special beer. It was called Shiner, just straight Shiner beer. It was called, Shiner Premium, Shiner Blonde, and it's back to Shiner Premium again. We only make one beer. We made Shiner Bach, which was just a seasonal beer, in 1913, 1914 as a seasonal. But really became popular in the late 70s, 1978, where Austin fell in love with Shiner Bach as our seasonal. And again, we haven't looked back since that year, 1978.
No more show questions while we're on break, Brian.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm stealing the
show content there.
I can't help it.
Well, you know what we got to
keep asking questions.
We got us a Texan checking in here with a request.
We do, yeah.
Troy, tell us we need to do a live remote from Texas.
Is he out of Houston? Is that
Houston?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So
hey, Troy.
I can't argue with that. We do need to get. So
I would enjoy that.
We have a lot of friends across Texas.
We do.
I got a lot of friends at actually Dallas, Fort Worth,
yeah,
Houston, San Antonio, El Paso. We know several brewers out there as well. We can have a good time on a tour of Texas there.
I mean, it might take a while. Texas is very large.
It's a big state.
If you haven't noticed, it's
we
quite
could do
sizable.
the Texas tour.
Yeah. Nice thing about the brewery, if you want to come visit, is it's a drive from Houston, Austin, San Antonio, about a 2-hour drive from each of those. So you can, just about anybody can make a day trip out of it.
Kind of conveniently centrally located to almost nothing.
Conveniently inconvenient.
Conveniently inconvenient. Actually, if that's not a slogan, it should be. So there you go. Come visit the Spoetzl Brewery.
Conveniently inconvenient. Inconvenient for your pleasure.
Are you sick of San Antonio, Houston, Austin, or come to Shiner?
There's an answer. You can get away. Come to Shiner.
That's it. That's it. We always say when we give terrible ideas, they're free to use. We don't invoice.
Yeah, that's right.
This.
For our terrible ideas,
you're free to use.
You're welcome to use that terrible.
Whether it's
idea.
for tourism, beer styles, beer names,
beer ideas,
all free of charge. You're welcome.
So what are we drinking?
Because you want us to make the near beer? Is that
that's it? That's the one. That's the one.
The near in quotes, where it's actually like 3 or 4%.
I wanted to figure out how to put a GIF on a can, so there's seriously someone.
A guy just doing this the whole time, over and over again.
Yeah. Move it. Get the spectrum.
Yeah. The thing where you move it one way. Yeah. That would be great.
We were talking about this on another show, but a brewery did an NFT beer release where they sold an NFT for the can art. I think the label art. So that's what you could do. You could fund that with a good old NFT there.
The craziest thing we've done recently. Do you know the berries and cream little lad dancing?
Oh,
berries and cream.
Berries and what else?
We did this.
Oh my gosh! Yes, yes.
Thank you, Nick. I'm still, I don't know where that came from, but
are you still traumatized?
Right.
Yes.
That had a resurgent recently on the internet.
It did. Somebody on the internet found that, posted it to Reddit or something like that. Immediately, people seized on it as being, oh my gosh, that was like a mid 2000s. Like every ad was insane. Like they were all just nuts. Yeah. Didn't make a bit of sense.
The Quiznos ones with the little weird animals,
the eyeballs and the weird mouths? Oh yeah.
There was one talking about advertising. They say stuff like, no press is bad press or what have you. There was a Super Bowl ad that I think it was Mountain Dew maybe that did it, but someone like a cheetah or something grabbed someone's Mountain Dew and ran off and swallowed it and ran off with it. And they ran down the cheetah, and it shows them like opening the cheetah's throat and reaching down and pulling the can out of there.
Oh, jeez.
But they said when they polled people after that commercial aired, no one knew what the ad was for because they went too far.
Yeah,
they went too far.
That's a problem. It's like, no bad. All press is good press as long as they know what the press is about. I get.
Yeah. So how about we jump to one of the cocktail seltzers?
Okay.
So we can finish out segment 4 with the s'mores.
Okay. That
Sound
sounds
good?
great. Sounds great. Unless you guys object. We're going
No,
cocktail
that's
seltzer.
fine.
Let's do the
Whatever y'all
Texas
want.
Mule because that's Texas. It says Texas. It
All
sounds
right.
like the way to go here.
Texas Mule it is.
Yes, Texas Mule. I still got a glass full.
Ironically, that's probably the least Texas of them.
Is it? Okay. Yeah,
we just
gotcha.
took Moscow and put Texas on instead.
I see. Dirty tricks, man. Dirty tricks there. So what's
That's
that?
marketers.
What's the Texasist one? Is Texasist?
Yeah,
a word?
Texasist. Yeah, the most Texasist.
I mean, I think any. I mean, the Mexican martini is like a Texas invention. Watermelon margarita is pretty Texan.
Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah,
we
I
got
think the
a
Mexican martini would.
That's where to go. All right. That's what we'll do.
Sold.
then.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna chug this cheer.
Yeah, go do it. That is a great beer.
Are these tall tale screw offs as well?
If you're strong enough.
So anything, anything can be a strong the screw off if you're strong enough. Yes.
I did open that can yesterday without popping the top.
You did, yeah, with the help of a knife. Yeah.
Yeah. We had someone sent us 2. They were skinny cans of a beer, and I didn't know that's what it was. They put them in one of the USPS small
shipper
boxes,
yeah,
tiny boxes. So
that knife
I
went
whipped
right
out
through
the
it.
pocket knife, and hey, I got a nice sharp knife. Apparently,
hot knife through a beer can.
The studio, my face, my shirt, everything was covered in beer, but
I didn't realize what had happened. I thought it actually exploded or something in the box, and
I sliced it.
All right, here we go. Tall tales. Oh yeah,
That happened to me today in a way.
Did you? Yeah.
Can of kombucha unrefrigerated all day.
Pop. It'll do it, man. It'll do it. You know what? I'm
that is
always
very clear in color.
when I see seltzers, I always forget they're clear. I'm always looking for
Exactly what I was
some
thinking.
color
I was thinking
Yeah.
like, oh, what's this color going to be? Oh, it's a seltzer. It's going to be clear.
The mule does have a little bit of a haze to it.
Little
Just 'cause
hint?
I think it's the ginger brings a little bit of a haze to it. Yeah.
I know what Tim's thinking. He's used to those milkshake seltzers.
There's, if it's got alcohol and can be put in a can, they're going to milkshake it.
That's right.
They will
Absolutely.
milkshake
Right
it.
now, everybody's putting milk in everything, which is horrible for a guy like me who does not handle lactose well.
Speaking of that, I remember milkshake seltzers being smoothie seltzers. They were
Oh,
called.
smoothie seltzers. Yeah,
They were
yeah.
popular for a flash, but I haven't heard the hype on those. It's Smoogie or Smooge?
Smooge,
was
yeah.
a big one. No.
Yeah.
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 By imprint.
Well, the seltzers guys, we started making this here, year and a half or so back, and again, everybody's into it. So hey, we're gonna do our rendition of it, and we're gonna shinerize everything we do. So I think we did a pretty good job of this seltzer.
Okay.
And you got to remember, we keep talking about this 1909. We built, we had this great artesian well on site. Again,
Right.
we're using this pristine water, this liquid gold, for our base in this in the seltzers. So we're starting out good
With good
quality water.
right?
So we don't have to do nothing with this water, significantly to start our, to get our base with. You're looking at, basically making a seltzer is really sexy. There isn't all that much additives to it. You're looking at your water, your sucrose, and your yeast. You're getting after it. But main thing is what we want to do is use real flavors. Trying to get, be creative in our flavors, like this tall tales. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff going on it. You got little lime, little tangy orange going on it. A little, it's even got some agave for sweetness in it. So again, still trying to be true to our Texas ingredients and still get the flavor we want.
So Brian and I have been fairly outspoken hypocritically against seltzers because we'll talk trash about them all day and then we're like, well, this is pretty good.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know what? In all honesty, my thing is I heard a lot of craft brewers talk a lot of times about these quality ingredients and don't drink this because we do this. You know, we take this and that, and then they're marketing the heck out of their sugar water. And I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
This is, you're basically peddling. And I didn't like that they were stealing shelf space from craft beer. That was my issues with seltzer.
That the last part was it for me. When I went into my local beer store and I noticed entire shelves and entire coolers disappearing and being given over to hard seltzers, I started to get angry about it because I didn't have any thoughts about it one way or the other, because I've known people that drink the regular non-alcoholic stuff for years. Like guys I've worked with, whatever. I'm like, I've tried it. It's like,
Perrier.
all right, not really my thing. There's another one, but yeah, with a light fruit flavor in it. But anyway, that's fine. But it had never intruded on my beer.
Never got up in your space, did it?
It got into my beer space.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, now you've made an enemy. You've crossed that line.
Well, the reason I hate her is because haters hate. So
yeah, that's true.
That's kind of why I have
haters
to do
gonna
that.
hate.
Haters gonna hate. No, but
I believe she's in court for that. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
But talking about that, we did have a brewery, Crooked Run. Was it that sent us the smoothie seltzer?
Yeah, that's right.
Guys, I'm gonna be straight. It was delicious. This thing was delicious. It was fruit punch. Now, true story. We poured it into 3 glasses. Looked like 3 different beverages because of the way the fruit had settled in it. So we had to pour our glasses back and forth to level it out. But it was a sweet, fruity, creamy. It was was it beer? No, I mean it was a seltzer, but this was
it even
drink.
a seltzer? It was like a carbonated fruit drink.
Smoothie.
Honestly, yeah. It's a carbonated. I didn't hate it.
A lot of those are like those like fruited sours. I feel like there's kind of almost a spectrum there from those fruited seltzers into the fruited sours that really aren't even all that sour always.
I have to pick a line I draw in the sand to direct my hate. Nick, like fruited sour Berliner, fruited smoothie Berliner, fantastic and delicious. Fruited smoothie seltzer, blasphemous, terrible.
Yes, abomination. I like this. I don't know if it's clear from what Tim is saying. I enjoy this.
I dig this.
Nice.
This is really tasty. I like this.
It helps. It's cocktail themed, which I
do dig that.
I'm
the same way.
That does assist a lot for me.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, we've chatted about a lot, but I guess we need to get into the radio too. So, guys, I think we're going to talk a little more about your tall tales when we get back in here. And let's see, Brian, is there anything else we need to get to before we dive into that? We got 2 more segments, Brian.
We got 2 more. We're
drinking it. Let's go.
Yeah, we should do that.
Good with
first.
you guys. Talk a little more about the tall tales here.
Sure.
Y'all show.
Let's do it. All right, let's go for it then.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Your revolution is over, Mr. Lebowski. Condolences, the bum's lost.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, KFIR 720 AM in Albany and Salem, Oregon. Catch Beer Guys Radio on KFIR every Sunday at 5 a.m. Now let's get back to Shiner Beer.
Shiner Beer. You know what, Jimmy, we've been bending your ear a lot. I think I'm going to bug Nick here and see if he can help me with this and give you a little time to sip some beers there. We're sorry we've been taking you away from some good drinking there, but we'll give you the time. Nick, we've got some tall tales in front of us right now. We've opened them up, and Brian and I have trash talked seltzers and that. I'm going to start by saying this is really, really good. I dig this a lot. We currently have the Mexican Martini here. And this is just really tasty. You do yours. Your spin on your seltzers is that they're cocktail inspired, correct?
It is, and that, I mean, the name Tall Tales, and again, you're talking to the guy that does marketing here, but we were kind of proud of that that's kind of both a play on words of cocktails, right. And then if you actually look on the can, each flavor has its own little made up tall tale story about kind of how it came to be. So there's kind of a fun double meaning behind that. And, getting into the cocktail flavor space actually gave us some territory that, other than actual canned cocktails with spirits and ready to drink cocktails, but it's something that in the actual hard seltzer space hadn't really been brought to market yet. So we were trying to kind of find something that was unique for that. Brought a Texas spin on it with some of our kind of Texas themed cocktails like Paloma and and watermelon margarita. I think you're doing the Mexican martini, right?
We are, yes.
Yep.
And
What
that's-
is a Mexican martini?
So basically, at the simplest level, you take a margarita and you add a little bit of olive juice to it. Like that's the simplest explanation for
Okay,
it.
I'm down with
I'm
that.
on board
I'm
with
on
that. I
board
like
with
me
that.
some olives in that. I've
Yeah,
never
you
even
know what? That actually sounds real.
tried that now.
I'm gonna have to do because I like a good dirty martini.
Yeah,
and I
I
like
do
a
as well.
margarita. We're gonna have to do
Guys,
this,
take another sip of it. You might get that hint of that olive in it.
When he said that, I can taste on my palate that that's there. I didn't taste it, and we talked recently about kind of the power of suggestion with that.
Yeah.
It's like you taste that, and there's something there, and then someone's like, "Well, it's so and so." You're like, "You know what? It sure is."
I'm
sure is.
surprised that I was not aware that this was a thing. But
Nick, could you see if we have another one of these chilled, sir? We'd appreciate it. So, and for those that can't see the can, the Tall Tales is apostrophe TAILS, cocktails, tells there. So, little play, good stuff. And
so what is the
know.
the story, the fake origin story, or the tall tale, the legend of this particular cocktail? Now I'm curious, and I haven't had a chance to read the can.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot on that one. Oh, I remember. I remember.
Yeah.
So that tall tale is centered around the journey to go and find the ingredients. So in this scenario, actually, I think it doesn't specifically call out Jimmy by name, but it alludes that he went on a journey looking for this magical lime and olive tree, and had to climb it and steal it away from a hawk and bring it back to the brewery to make the seltzer. So that's just one of many gems you're going to get on each of those cans.
Are there origin videos on the website for this? Because there needs to be.
That really should be.
You asked that, and it doesn't exist now, but insider information. We might be working on something.
All
like
right,
that.
I'll keep an eye out.
Well, Jimmy, we thank you
this.
for your service in retrieving the ingredients. I know that must have been difficult.
The hard work there, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
So you got to brew it. Now you got to go grab it from giant birds and things like that.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Farm to table, guys. Farm to table.
That's it. Farm to table. Fist to table, fist to can, whatever. Take it from the birds
Exactly,
there. So,
yeah.
but like you said though, Nick, a cool crossover there because of the popularity of the ready to drink RTD cocktails right now and seltzers. You play on both sides. It's a smart way to go, man. Smart way to go. So, and I'm digging this. That's for sure.
Yeah, and again, I always like to give all the credit to the brewing team, and they really we've gone through different iterations of seltzer, and it was completely new for us, and we're still very focused on beer, but a big kudos to the brewing team, Jimmy, and everybody there for making this happen.
Yeah, it was a fun little sidebar to do, to get into, and again, like I said, in craft brewing, I mean, you're doing something, different all the time. So hey, this was just another thing that we can hang our hat on that we did.
When we look at the changes, Brian shared some of the news of kind of the year in beer right now, but beer has changed so much over the last even few years, especially if you go back. Jimmy, you said you've been at the brewery, 114 years now?
Yeah.
So,
It'll be 44.
Okay.
44.
But, I mean, seriously, if you think 44 years back, that's some massive changes in the beer landscape. When you're looking at the changes we've seen in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years at what you've seen there. But a brewery, especially with the tap rooms, the popularity of tap rooms these days. And there was an article, I think, in the Wall Street Journal recently talking about how brewery tap rooms are taken away from the craft bar, from the craft bar.
Taking over.
People are going to the tap rooms, and more breweries are offering seltzer, wine, spirits, cocktails, all of this. It's not just beer anymore. And beer drinkers are bringing their friends out that want something else. And even beer drinkers like to see that variety there. So I know you guys were mentioning that you're, Shiner, Texas, small town, conveniently inconvenient there. But do you do a lot of tap room business there? Is it pretty big for you?
I'm just so glad you asked that, that question, because we are so proud of, during COVID when we were shut down, we never shut down the brewery. We was always continuously making beer the whole time. But it gave us time to think of what we're doing in the hospitality side of it, the tour side, the tap room side. Again, you're here in Texas. We cannot sell beer on site, but we can offer you tours, and we can offer you free beer and free seltzers on site, while you're here. So we took this opportunity to totally redo our whole hospitality theme. I mean, from our hospitality room to our gift shop to an outside pavilion to our tour. I mean, a very informative, digital, interactive, overseeing the bottle shop, the brew house. I mean, just a fantastic tour. We're open 7 days a week now for the tours. So you can come venture off in Shiner, Texas anytime you want, and you're going to be able to get a tour.
That's cool.
That's great.
And, guys, we have to sympathize with you because until 2017, Georgia was the same way.
That is correct.
With not being able to sell. We did the tours, and, they talk about like going back to Prohibition, because that tours and tastings thing is really a holdover from Prohibition era, where they would do like the blind tiger thing. You'd pay 25 cents to see the blind tiger, and you'd get a cocktail with it because they couldn't sell.
They couldn't sell.
So, and Georgia, we passed laws 2017, our brewers could start selling. But the same thing, you'd go in, and I think it was 36 ounces was our limit.
Yeah, that's about right.
So breweries would have tokens or tickets or what have you. You had to do the tour. We actually had
the tour.
We had a brewery get cited because they had an agent go there undercover and they weren't doing the tour properly. So they got serious with this stuff here.
Yeah.
But
guys, I can remember the day the hospitality room was open all day and there was unlimited amount of beer you could drink. People would come in, and they would come in at 10 o'clock and drink till 12, go home for lunch, and then come back at 1 o'clock and stay there till 5.
That's it. Take advantage of that. So are you said you're unlimited on how much you can, quote, give away?
No, that's back in the day,
Back in the day, right?
It probably stopped around, mid 80s, 85, 86.
We're running the racket kind of like your other example, which is, people come and they can buy a tour package, and we give them plenty of beer to go along with that. So
Gotcha.
you don't have to worry about not getting any beer when they come out to Shiner.
So that's a blessing and a curse, because some people, when that went away in Georgia, they missed that because it was an inexpensive way to drink a good amount of beer and a good variety of beer too. Yeah.
They had the Georgia law was you had to give the tour free, and that came with the 36 ounces of samples, but the breweries could sell a commemorative glass.
Oh,
so that's the way breweries would do it. They'd charge $12 or $15 for the glass, and you'd get the tour. And there were a lot of people angry when the law changed.
Yeah.
Because they could go to the brewery, drop $12, and even with a $5 tip. And it was kind of a running comment here. It was, I'm throwing air quotes right now, 36 ounces of beer.
Yes.
So there was some breweries. Right. Yeah.
They sometimes miss the little mark on the glass and went a little over. Oh, it's okay. It's
right.
We'll make up for on the next pour.
As
Never
a consumer, I understand missing that, because it was nice to go in and drop $12 and boom, you get this.
Yep.
But knowing brewers and that, I wouldn't want it the other way.
Some
around.
breweries for a while, even up until last year, pandemic time, but there had throwback days where you could do the same thing, where they would sell you the glass,
do that for a little
and they
while.
would let you do it the old
beer
school
laws,
way.
Guys, beer laws.
People
Crazy
got trained;
stuff.
they got used to it. So.
Crazy stuff.
Save it for another episode.
Yeah,
that's it, man. Definitely another one. Well, speaking of that, we do need to take a break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we will be back with more Shiner beer right after this. Beer laws.
Craziness.
Guys, we launched our show January 2nd, 2016, and we were in between. They had just passed a law where you could sell souvenir packages. So it was kind of the in-between of being able to actually sell beer. So instead of the 36 ounces, someone could buy like a $30 tour package, and that included like 2 750s to go when they left. So, and then in 2017, we actually changed to the on-site sales.
Yeah.
And we were in line at 12 a.m. July 1st when they allowed them to do it. So I think our buddy Brad was the first person in the state of Georgia to buy beer at a brewery in Georgia
entirely
since Prohibition.
Yeah, entirely likely. And there was news cameras there because it was such a big
stuff,
deal.
Man.
Yeah,
big stuff.
We're in the news for buying beer.
Yep. Well, and guys, we're getting ready to go into the last segment. We've got plenty more to talk about, but is there anything we haven't covered you want us to make sure that we do cover?
It's been pretty good coverage. I mean, honestly, whatever's gonna fit back best into your last segment. We've got multiple different beers you can talk about.
Cool.
You've got the bonfire pack, right?
That's what I was thinking. We're gonna do the bonfires there for sure. That's we really don't know what we just come in here and start running our mouths and record it for an hour. So.
I like that too. Yeah, that's easy.
We do kind of need to pay off in the radio show segment the pickle portion of it because I did mention at the top of the show. The pickle seltzer.
Didn't we talk? Was that break talk?
I think so. Did we talk about it in the break or did I
don't? It was just I just made a comment, but
yeah.
Okay.
We could. We could make a couple of quick comments on it when we come back.
We can do that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
How about the s'mores there? Or you know what? Grab a couple. How about Grab one of each, man. We'll see. We'll get it figured out.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
It's a brave new world. We can do this.
That's right.
So
that is correct. Should we ask? In the break, should we ask Seth's question? I believe it was.
What was Seth's question?
Yeah.
Our friend Seth, also another Texan,
yes,
said his wife was a huge fan of the Hefeweizen that I believe you quit making many years ago. And I think I saw maybe the closest thing now is White Wing. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. We did a Hefeweizen. We did a number of wheat beers. We had one before your time. It's called Honey Wheat, which is an exceptional beer. Then we went into Hefeweizen. We've had some wheat beer rendition. Yeah, we're the White Wing. That's funny you say that. You might see that again come around once in a while again. But we definitely had quite a few different Hefeweizens.
Okay.
So I think his question was, or her question is like, what happened to it? Why did it go away? And please bring it back. I think it was kind of a question comment type of situation.
Yeah. well, Nick, I tell you what, I just make beer for a living. You the one marketing it, so you answer that question.
Nick? He's gonna pawn that one off on me. It's his fault. It's his fault.
So come up with a story as to why it went away or why it's coming back.
Legend.
Pick a story.
I think there was a catastrophic wheat shortage, and we just never fully recovered.
Right. Jimmy had to fight a giant Bavarian for the wheat field.
That's right. Yeah.
And it just didn't turn out in
his favor. He got some of the wheat, but the Bavarian stole most of it and ate a lot of it in the process.
It's really a tragic story when you think about it. So
makes me sad to think about. Never forget the wheat battle.
The wheat battle. The great wheat battle. The Battle of Heffa Hill.
Yeah, the great wheat battle of 1992.
Lost some good men.
That's right.
Right, yeah. Pour a little out for the homies there. All right. Brian, do you want to go straight to the s'more, or would you like maybe a toasted amber or a trail ale before you go there? What you want?
Yeah, trail ale. Find out. We'll hit trail ale.
Fafo.
That's probably the most unique one. There's some other s'more beers out there, but I don't know if there's a trail mix beer.
Trail mix beer? Well,
I'm even more intrigued by it now. I didn't realize it was a trail mix beer.
Let me get a pull on your 40 there before we.
Nuts, dried fruit.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. We have some. It's not really trail mix, but I got a new oven that's got a rotisserie in it, and I've got a basket. So I've been home roasting peanuts, and so I've got.
You got a convection oven?
Yeah, it's a little convection
air
thing
fryer?
with the air fryer, convection, toaster, all of that. It can make yogurt and proof bread. All that.
Can you roast barley?
I guess I probably could.
You're a monster now.
With my little,
you're a monster.
With my little tumble basket, I bet I could put a little.
Yeah.
It'd be like the floor thing. Just keep it rolling slowly there.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, man.
It's time to open up the.
Yeah.
You're going directly from the can.
So what are y'all guys drinking now?
I just
you got
the
trail mix.
I got a sip of trail. That's good, man. That is good.
Well, I just want to tell you that beer there is a brewer's nightmare.
Is it because of the ingredients?
Because all the ingredients. I mean, you.
That's good. Man.
I mean, where do I start? 2-row malt, Munich malt, biscuit malt, caramel malt, crystal malt, pecan, raisins, chocolate, apricots, and have a little salty aftertaste to it.
This sounds like something that came up to punish you for something, Jimmy.
What did you do wrong?
I think
So,
it was.
Yeah, what
I
did
mean-
you do wrong? You did something.
he didn't win that hef battle.
That's right. You
I guess
lost the
they
half
want-
battle.
I guess
Yeah.
they didn't want to see me at 45 years here, I
Yeah,
guess.
see, that's it, man.
I'll tell you what, though, like for as much went into that to come out as cohesive as that did, again, huge kudos, Jimmy.
I mean, you know
I'm
how
gonna
much,
give you that, man. Yeah.
this thing was roundtable discussion with the brewing team, just over and over. When they said trail mix, I'm like, how in the hell are you going to make a trail mix?
Right.
And
Right.
then we started, brainstorming and coming up with different ingredients and stuff, and that's
And
that's
here it
it.
is. Here
Here's
it
a
is.
trail mix.
The great thing of that one is it wasn't even like a lot of times we try to like look at trends and what's going on and use like insights and all that. And this was like what would be cool? Trail mix. And it's like, yeah, let's do it.
That's trail mix.
It turns out you were right. It's cool, but also very difficult.
You know something, guys? I'll say here as well. I've enjoyed them all, but everything I drank that too fast. I chugged my seltzer and excuse me. But everything delivers on the flavor as described.
Yeah.
And, I know a lot of breweries will do and say this is a so and so inspired beer, and you're like, but trail beer is trail beer.
That's
The
very much.
I get the Mexican martini,
Yeah,
the holiday cheer. I felt cheerful drinking that beer.
I enjoyed that a great deal.
Yeah,
I think of all these, I didn't expect this, but this trail ale might be my
It's
favorite.
tasty,
I
man. They're
really
all
like
tasty.
it's the.
there's some s'more for you when you're ready. Bro.
All right.
When you're ready.
I will keep that nearby. I'll be ready.
You know what?
Possibly soon.
Anytime I see s'more, I think stout, and this is a little lighter, bringing those flavors through, but not as heavy as some of the other s'more. beers.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
s'more.
a
Yeah.
dessert stout. I mean, that's kind of what we were trying to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
Using some oats, chocolate malt, carapils, copper malt, cocoa nibs. Get some of the chocolate in there.
Yep.
Vanilla notes, marshmallows. How about that? How
Get
about
it in there,
that?
man.
Throw it into a kettle. Don't tell me we ain't a craft brewer. When you got marshmallows floating around.
The best place for marshmallows is lots and lots of them in the mash tun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's where you put them in there, because that's where they get that's where you convert. They get the most conversion in there. Mash them in there.
You could turn all of your hoses into kind of a marshmallow randle and just put them in there and just run the beer through there. And it'll just absorb it. I mean, it'll flow perfectly well. There won't be any issues at all, and you get perfect marshmallow flavor.
That's it.
Try it out. That is also
Success.
a free idea. Please don't sue me if it doesn't work out.
Right. Yes. That's right. We don't charge, but we're also liable.
We also don't want to be sued. Yeah.
All right, Jits. Shall we get into this last segment here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
As soon as I find my.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Shake it back!
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to Shiner Beer.
Shiner Beer. Guys, this is, I'm going to say, our dessert and snacks inspired segment here.
Yes.
Because we've got trail mix to talk about,
S'mores
to talk about, and Brian's favorite dessert, pickles.
Yes, I do. And you know what? The crazy thing is if I'm having a deli sandwich, I don't feel as though I've had a proper sandwich unless I've had a pickle spear on there. Dill pickle spear.
I feel that.
We talked about it at the very top of the show. We gotta pay that off. The juicy dill pickle hard seltzer. Whose idea was this? How did this come to be?
I'm pointing at him right there.
There you go. All right.
I'm pointing right back at Jimmy because I'll tell you what, he makes some of the best homemade pickles that you will have had.
Okay.
Delicious. Right. And honestly, that's half. I wouldn't even say more than half. That's where 90% of the inspiration came for this.
So yeah, they took my country boy pickle making into live.
Got to do it. Put it in a can. Now, Jimmy, I got to ask, as a amateur pickler myself. Have you ever put hops in your pickles?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Again, I've thought about, and again, I just haven't had a lot of time, but I thought about making some beer inspired pickles, and I just
Sure.
haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. And again, something that won't be too far out there, but still be have that nice again, the acidicness of beer will fit right in with these pickles. So I think it would. I just got to figure out what style I want to put in there.
I get you. I did some one time and put Citra hops in there, and they played well.
They came out
and
well.
I did lemon drop back when. What happened to lemon drop?
Yeah, that's a good question. That was a hot hop for like 5 minutes.
Cool anymore.
Yeah,
it's not
cool at all.
But yeah, cold beer and some pickles. What's not to love?
How many cucumbers were in the mash tun is my big question.
This was all about the dill flavor, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so dill and a little bit of white vinegar and really just like a super crisp, clean flavor. And that's the kind of pickle that Jimmy makes, and that's what we were going for with this. And I was kind of joking earlier about some of the other beers that we just kind of said like, well, what the hell, let's give it a try. That's what we got with pickle. It was this would be fun, this would be different. If you look at the packaging on it, we just kind of had fun. It's got stupid little quotes on it. It's got like a dancing pickle guy. So here's the marketing side of this again. We created a website. If you go to picklemode.com, it's got like a pickle that'll tell you your fortune. It's got like a dancing pickle unicorn, and it's a good waste of several minutes of precious time. So I'd encourage everyone to check it out.
Sounds good to me.
I can't believe I didn't find that. I'm going to spend a lot of time on that.
Sense.
Yeah.
Keeping with the desert theme, this is such a controversial topic of the holidays, fruitcake. So we talked about how the cheer had a fruitcake
kind of vibe to it. Yeah.
To it. But you guys actually did a collaboration, did a fruitcake beer, right?
Yeah, we did. Collins Street actually came out here, and we did a collaboration with them. So again, you want to tell Nick tell them how that came about?
So, I mean, again, we source a lot of our ingredients that we can locally in Texas, especially a lot of fruits and nuts and chocolate and all those things that are adjuncts or flavors that we're adding. And Collins Street is a Texas bakery, so they ship their cakes all over, but they're out of Corsicana. And we just kind of met up and we said, hey, you want to do something together? Want to do something cool? And they were super stoked about it. So it was we hit it off immediately. They do a lot of their own ingredient management, and I think they have some of their own fields that they manage for growing like their pineapple and cherries and everything. They have a very impressive operation for where the ingredients that they actually take and put into their fruitcake. And so we tried to tap into that and use some of those amazing ingredients and put them into a beer.
Yeah, we didn't have little fruitcakes floating around, in the brew kettle, but a lot of the ingredients we inspired a barrel-aged beer, a little higher in alcohol. Again, it really I was amazed. I was in Cleveland, Ohio, of any place, and I found some Collins Street on tap there, and again, a good flavorful barrel-aged beer.
Back when I was a kid, I remember fruitcake being kind of a gag gift. People gave like there would be like a white elephant gift exchange, and there would be the same fruitcake would be given around for years and years and years. I don't understand why people didn't like fruitcake. I like fruitcake. I like it. And
I do too,
are you guys do you guys both enjoy fruitcake, or is that?
It's funny how a few years put on you that your view changes of that fruitcake, ain't it?
Yeah.
I think it was just something that it became true. It was a holiday tradition to hate on fruitcake.
I think so.
They talked stuff like one fruitcake had been passed from family member to family member for 20 years.
After all that aging, it would be beautiful.
20 pounds. It was just dense, heavy, and
that's right. Which is good because it can be used. They come in logs frequently that can be used as a weapon.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
So yeah, if you have to,
If you have to defend yourself against people trying to steal your wheat, for example.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
If he'd only had a fruitcake on
That's
that
right.
hill,
He could have
we'd
won.
Still have Hefeweizen.
That we would.
So
Yeah.
But I actually brought a fruitcake one year because of so many years I'd walk by and see it on the shelf. I'm like, fruitcake. And one year I did that. I'm like, I've never had fruitcake. I can't trash talk it if I've never had it. So I picked one up and I'm like, I dig this.
Before we get into the beer we're talking about now,
Yes.
I have to ask, Jimmy, why do you have screw-off tops on the bottles on Shiner beer?
To get the beer out.
That makes sense.
That's what I needed to
totally
hear.
it, man.
Now we may continue on.
See, ask a simple question.
Get the right
Oh,
answer.
it's so funny. I mean, I did that commercial a number of years ago, and I'm walking across the lawn here at the brewery, and I'll always have somebody come up and run up to me and say it. They got their their iPhones out, and they make me say that. I feel like a little kid, But
well, that's
anyway.
Jimmy. We actually launched a beer show 6 years ago for this moment.
Exactly.
So
yes.
we can
it was
have
all a
this
build up
here
for
just
this
to ask
moment.
you that.
Okay.
Get you to say it here, man. So no, that stuff's fun. I mean, it's just fun, man. It's what beer's about. Having a good time.
Go check out the video on their website of him saying it. It's glorious.
It's just classic
it's wonderful.
stuff,
I watched it
yeah.
like 4 times.
Well, guys, we are going through now your Bonfire Brewskis sample pack, and that's got a toasted amber lager in it that we haven't opened this yet. Trail Ale. This is a trail mix beer, right? Why in the world would you do a trail mix beer?
Again, Nick, that falls on you.
I love Jimmy.
It's like, Nick, why have you done this to us?
Why do this, Nick?
It was strictly to challenge the brewing team and see how really have them put their money where their mouth is. They were saying, you can't come up with something that we can't brew, and we tried, and they proved us wrong. So
and again, I'm just going to go through this list here of kind of what's in there. I repeat: 2-row malt, Munich malt, biscuit malt, caramel malt, crystal malt, pecan, raisins, chocolate nib, apricots, and a little hint of little saltiness.
A little bit of salt
A
there.
little tiny bit of salt.
Jimmy, in the time that you've been at the brewery, I'm sure you've got a chance to brew many, many different beers, but is there a beer you haven't brewed that you want to?
You know what? We've in these years, I mean, we got challenged a bunch this year in the last couple of years with different beers. But again, I feel like again, all these beers it's how beer has evolved. There was only so many different styles. Back then it was, these styles had borders, and you made your Colchester to this style, to this border, you made your lagers, you made your Hefeweizen, everything was kind of within borders, and you knew what the styles was. It wasn't all that many styles. Now you have many, many styles because they're hybrids of some of the original styles. So when craft brewers came around, they took these borders off and just opened up, and they could make these beers anything they want. So they could take a Kolsch and turn it into anything they wanted to. Again, we've done that, a lot of that with, some of what I say fruit beers that, before our seltzers, we're looking like our Ruby Redbird, that's a very, very flavorful beer, a low calorie beer you can drink a ton of, our Weizen Easy, which is dewberry, infused, because Texas dewberries, and again, it's Kolsch style, beers that derived into a total different type of beer. So again, it's been fun being able to have these borders taken off and do anything you want with these beers.
Did you make that transition smoothly, Jimmy? And I ask that because a lot of what I'm going to call the old school guys in beer, it wasn't an easy transition.
Very
struggled.
resistant.
Yep.
Yeah,
I did. I struggled.
But are you all on board now?
I'm all into it now, man.
Good
yes,
stuff. I know it was a big thing.
Yeah.
Well, that was the traditional old brewmasters. You made it this style, and that was it. And you get fancy with it. Don't do that. That's kind of how you was taught back then. You got to remember, there was only 6 breweries in Texas when I started. There was Pearl, Lone Star, Stroh's, Miller, Budweiser, and Shiner. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time they came to Jimmy, they're like, Jimmy, we want to put this fruit in a beer. Like, not in my beer.
Is it?
Not
No way.
in
You get
my
right
beer.
out there. You see that
get
door
out
right
of
there?
here.
That's the exit. You
That
get out that
person,
door.
That was their last day with
That's
Spoetzl
right.
Brewery in there. So, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We've had a blast chatting with you, enjoying your beers and just cutting up here. Always a good time. What beer is all about. We've really enjoyed that. If people want to learn more about Shiner beer, where is the best place for them to go to do that?
I'd say go to shiner.com. You can check us out on our social channels, Shiner Beer, our handles on Facebook and Instagram.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate it. Brian, that about wraps it up for this episode and this year
Yes.
of Beer Guys Radio. We're taking next week off to enjoy the holidays with our friends and family. We thank you for joining us throughout this year, and we hope you join us in the new year. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Don't. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you, man.
Successful show. That was
blast.
great.
That was a ton of fun.
That was a lot of fun, guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
y'all
much.
guys having us on there.
Absolutely.
And again, still would love personally to invite y'all here to Spoetzl Brewery. If you're ever
Thank
in
you.
this area, come see us.
We absolutely have to get
Absolutely,
we have a Northeast trip that we need to do, and we're long overdue to visit friends and brewers
In Texas.
Texas.
I think we would have a blast.
We
at
sure
Spoetzl Brewery.
are.
I know you guys would. No doubt about it.
Sure enough. Guys, we're not going to hold you. We know there's a football game going on there.
There
Go
is, yeah.
Comanches. Cheering on the team.
There you
We'll
go,
get-
guys.
We'll get links out to everything once it launches, but thanks again, guys. We hope you have a great night.
Appreciate it.
a lot of
Merry
fun.
Christmas
Cheers.
to y'all guys.
Sounds
We'll
good.
see ya.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Facebook, YouTube, thank you for tuning in with us. We hope you've enjoyed the show today. Again, we're off next week. We got to do it.
We
got
are,
to enjoy
yeah.
the holidays. I forgot to tease this on the show, but big stuff. You may have tuned in yesterday to see we talked to Sam Calagione.
We did.
For our podcast and radio listeners, that will be the first big show, the first show
Of the new year.
of 2022.
Yeah.
So, what's that?
Absolutely not.
It will be 1/1/2022. That's how that works out, man.
Oh,
That is how that works out.
This is why he doesn't have a mic.
This is it. See? So,
See what we have to deal with.
y'all, thank you so much. We hope you have fantastic holidays, and we will see you in the new year. Cheers.